My dear brothers and sisters in Christ Jesus, there was a beautiful story, and in that story we could see the beggar and the restaurant owner and finally the judge. And the story goes like this. A hungry man was walking down the street in a village of medieval Turkey. He had only a piece of bread in his hand. He came to a restaurant where some meatballs were being grilled. The cooking meat was so near and the smell so delicious. The man held his piece of bread over the meat to capture some smell. As he started to eat the bread, the angry restaurant owner seized him and took him away to see a judge. The owner protested. This man was stealing the smell of my meat without asking permission. I wanted to make him pay me for it. The judge thought for a moment, then held up his purse, or we say wallet, in front of the owner and shook it. "What are you doing that for?" asked the restaurant owner. The judge replied, "I am paying you. The sound of money is fair payment for the smell of food." Yes, my dear brothers and sisters, the challenge when we are dealing with the least and the last is to make sure that what we are sharing with them is real. We must make sure that our care is expressed in ways that are tangible and begins to change lives. How many of us would like to be visited by Christ but fail to recognize his presence in the poor? How many people profess to know Christ but deny him in their actions? How many of us pray and fast but live with vices and uncharitable actions? How many Christians believe that Christ is the judge of the living and the dead, and yet live as though they are not to be going to judged? My dear brothers and sisters, yes, we are celebrating today the feast of Christ the King. What does Jesus as a king mean? And the gospel passage is very clear, and it shows three things. Jesus as the judge, Jesus as he rewards according to our actions, and Jesus as he punishes according to our actions. And first of all, today's gospel speaks about the final judgment when Christ the King will separate according to our needs. There will clearly be judgment for all at the end of time. God will not take into account our knowledge and our degrees, our fame and our influence, our wealth and our possessions, the number of prayers we have recited, and the accuracy of following the external regulations, but concrete actions of charity to our needy brothers and sisters. These things Jesus the King will be accounting or taking to account. I hope we will be all right and find ourselves on the right side, because whatever we did to the least of our brothers and sisters, we did it this to Christ. And secondly, Jesus the King rewards us according to our actions. God is just always. He is not forgetful even the small act of kindness each one of us does. He will reward those who forget themselves and reach out the others or the needy. Because Jesus always identifies himself with the poor and with the other. This is beautiful Christian ideal to have before us is that Jesus is in the other person. Jesus is in the person next to me, the person behind me, in front of me, in the person I live. One person in recent history who lived this is Mother Teresa of Calcutta. When she was in hospital in 1983, this was part of her meditation. Jesus is the hungry to be fed. Jesus is the thirsty to be satiated. Jesus is the naked to be clothed. Jesus is the homeless to be taken in. Jesus is the sick to be healed. Jesus is the lonely to be loved. Jesus is the unwanted to be wanted. Jesus is the leper to wash his wounds. Jesus is the beggar to give him a smile. Jesus is the drunkard to listen to him. Jesus is the prisoner to be visited. Jesus is the old to be served. My dear brothers and sisters, in our lifetime, most of the time we meet all kinds of people, or all these people. When we look into them, or when we look Jesus in them, when you find Jesus in them, and when you help, we all will be rewarded with justice. So that is what Jesus today, he tells us to look Jesus in the poor. And finally, Jesus the King punishes. Again, God is not unfair. He is always fair. He has enabled us to be of service to others. He has blessed us to be able to share with others. We don't lack opportunities to help others. For, as Jesus says, the poor are always with you, because he identifies himself with the poor, with the other. So, today, let us never turn our faces from any poor, and God will never turn his face from us. Thank you.